Shame. 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 Shame.
What's going on? Shame TV, East Watch. Where are y'all? Shalom, shalom. Come on in. Come on in.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Peace,
Shame.
peace, peace. Y'all hit the like for me when y'all come in, if you don't mind.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yeah, I'm answering the Facebook group again. I seen a couple posts on Alex Jones InfoWars, and we're going to have to go in on that just a little bit. And before we do, I'm going to let you guys know that I will not be dignifying his video with any sort of evidence that we already know. I'm not about to sit here and go over a bunch of shit that all of us already know, because none of us are newbies over here. No one over here is a newbie. No one's over here that's generally just coming into consciousness. So you guys pretty much know better. But he did a video, I think a few days ago, and it was talking about how now they have new DNA to prove that that shows that the ancient civilization of Egypt was created by Central Europeans.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And usually, guys, I don't try to keep y'all long this time of day because I know everybody's still moving. People probably still got to go get their kids from daycare and all of that stuff like that. So I'm not going to keep you guys too long, and I'm going to just go ahead and dive right in. Now, again, the other day, Alex Jones put on you thought that was Alex Jones talking. Yeah. See, Alex Jones puts himself off as someone who's sincere. And I'm not here to say that he is or isn't sincere, but what I do know is that's blatant, typical grade A white supremacy when you start doing videos trying to prove that the ancient civilization of Kemet was started by and or inhabited by Europeans in its conception. Polite.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And right now, that's what we're dealing with today, guys. We're dealing with an individual who, like most European people, have a problem with accepting the greatness of my race. They have a problem with accepting all the contributions to this planet, which are nearly all of them. They really have a problem with accepting the fact that most of the world's inventions today come from black people. And so it's like today, when I seen it, I had to go in. I had to do the video. I had to do it. Okay? I had to do it, yo. Because it's very, very sad that we go through what we go through on a daily basis just being black. And on top of all of that, we have to turn around and worry about a bunch of people who shun us, talk shit about us in behind closed doors and in open, but generally behind closed doors. And we have a group of people who always seem to have a problem with us, who always seem to have a problem with what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the way that we do it. So my big issue is, why are you always dissecting something to try to prove us wrong? There's no way you can get around the Napoleon thing. I could sit there and bring up Sheikh Anta Diop. I could bring up a whole bunch of other information trying to verify that this has to be malarkey. I could do this with ease, but I said I'm not going to do that. I will not justify that video with any evidence of my people creating and inhabiting Kemet. I'm not going to do that shit. Because it's not necessary, and it will be giving some sort of credence to what the fuck they're saying. And I'm not going to do that. This is simply, this video and this live stream is purely unadulterated shame. This has nothing to do with anything else other than shame. Because you're going to ignore the fact that everyone knows that I'm going to go into the superficial stuff, guys. That's why I said I'm not going to give any sort of anything tangible evidence. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the DNA stuff. I'm not doing any of that shit. What I am going to do, though, like I said, I am going to shame the shit out of him today. Because that doesn't make any sense.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Now, let's just start with Napoleon. Let's just start with Napoleon Bonaparte going to Egypt and blowing the fucking nose and lips off the Sphinx. Let's just start there. If the Sphinx was created by Europeans, if the Sphinx was created by a European race who created Kemet, why the fuck would you make everything in there look African? Why would you make everybody in there look everything in there has to do with Africa. Every single part of it. So you mean to tell me a group of people who can't stand me are going to create a kingdom where everything and all the pictures on the wall look like the people they can't stand? Not only the people who created this kingdom, okay? These people who created this kingdom that he says, these Europeans, these Central Europeans, okay? How in the hell, why in the hell, excuse me, would Napoleon go on there and blow them and that's a known fact now. That's not conjecture. That's just not something black people say. That's a known fact that Napoleon Bonaparte went in there with 1,500 rounds straight to the fucking face. Okay? To make it look like it wasn't the way it originally looked. So before we start talking DNA, we got to start talking common sense. Before we start talking DNA, we have to start talking logic and reason. What would be the purpose of every other European scholar, every other European excavator who openly says and openly knows that that city and civilization was created by African people? Now, all of a sudden, after, what's the movie, the Abercrombie and Fitch movie, looked like a commercial for Abercrombie and Fitch, Gods of Egypt. After that shit comes out and it gets so much backlash, what do we have a year and a half later? Now all of a sudden, scientists have discovered that the DNA that of the people who created the ancient civilization really were of a European race.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
This is what I say about this society. When everyone talks to me about this society, the first thing I say is it is fake. Everything in this society is fake. Because with Europeans actually having their turn to rule and then taking their turn to rule to try to make it last forever when they were given an opportunity to rule, that definitely gets a shame bell.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yes, you were given an opportunity to rule and you took advantage of that opportunity that you were given. Now, I'm not mad because if I was a struggle gene, I would fucking do the same thing, I guess. Being the fact that I'm not a struggle gene, it's kind of hard for me to accept this. And it's kind of hard for me because this has been biting at my ass ever since I saw the post in my group. And I said, yo, are you kidding me, man? When does this shit end? Like, when do you guys stop vulturing our culture, man? When do you just come out and say it is what it is? How in the fuck are you going to take a race of Europeans, not just have them in a hot area, you're going to stick these motherfuckers in the desert? And you're going to try to get me or convince me or anyone else of sane mind, logic, and reason to fucking believe for 1 second that you guys were not only surviving and thriving in the desert, but building civilizations? Really?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
The fact of the matter is, guys, Europeans have not even given credit to modern day tools that were created by black people. You have yet to give credit to the modern day tools that you use to create whatever it is you create. When they show you all this shit about how they're building a Ford F-150 and all of this shit, none of these things can be done without basic tools such as screws, screwdrivers, and wrenches. You can't even begin to even start going into building these things without these tools. Okay? So, if these tools were created by, not only created by black people, but created by black people in the worst fucking possible situation. These shits was created by black people who were not even allowed to read and write. This shit was created by black people who couldn't even go to school for real. This is what how these things were created. These tools were created by my people who were put in the fucking one of the most worst situations possible for a group of people, and they were still thriving. Not only were they thriving, these people were creating industry by creating the tools necessary to create industry.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And then here we go with a person who has a large platform, and he has to know that shit is bullshit. Now, Alex Jones, I've never said anything about him in a negative way until now, because you push that shit and you put it out there. And you put that shit out there and you put it out there knowing that shit is incorrect. You guys can't even survive in Arizona right now. How the fuck are you telling me you were thriving and surviving in Kemet? It makes no sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, man, you know what happens.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I had a topic to do today, and I was going to talk about it. It had to do with relationships and things of that nature. But I felt that this needs to get over with. This needs to get talked about, even if it's for 30 minutes or so. I said this needs to get talked about and discussed because it doesn't make any fucking sense, man. When is this vulture shit gonna end? Every time I turn around and it has something to do with hip hop nowadays, at the end of the day, at the top of the line, at the back of the line, wherever the fuck you want to look, behind the curtain, I'm always seeing some European face. And it's not even like I see a European face as, okay, this person is a fan. No, they're running shit.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I had a live stream, guys, that's coming. It'll probably come up right after this that I plan on doing on Jay-Z's fuck ass. Because he assists in the culture vulturing. He's not, it's like they're not vulturing our culture by themselves. It's black people who are assisting in this shit.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
But it took me back. I was taken aback, guys, because I always scroll my group every day. I scroll, whether it's 1 time a day or 2 times a day, I always scroll it to see what's going on, to see what's happening. I caught the thing about, I caught that shit about Shaka Amos and what's his name? And Israel Doctrine. And I'm definitely, you guys know I'm definitely jumping on that today. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely jumping on that today. Because I listen and I don't know. You know, I can't sit there and say definitively that was Shaka Amos up there confessing about some sort of homosexual experience that he had with Bambaataa, but I'm gonna touch upon it because it was in the group, and I feel like it's my duty as running a Facebook group and having you guys in there. If you're going to put in topics that you want discussed and you want to hear about and talk about, and then I feel that it's my duty to do so, and I will always continue to do that. But that one I'm going to do a special video on because I always try to listen to the lingo. And the lingo kind of sounded like that. The lingo sounded like it could have been him. But you know how New York brothers are. They kind of sound alike. Especially brothers from Brooklyn and shit. Like, they really sound alike. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to sit there and decipher that. But knowing Israel Doctrine, the little bit that I do know of him, of Israel Doctrine, I'm kind of leaning towards agreeing with him because he doesn't seem to put shit out willy-nilly. You know what I'm saying? Israel Doctrine doesn't seem to be a person who just drops certain information willy-nilly. And for him to drop that information, he has to have had or probably had some sort of inclination to some sort of information to know that it's his Shaka, something to help verify and assist why he would do that. So I'm not going to just sit there and say that Israel Doctrine is full of shit. And I'm not going to just sit there and say that Shaka Amos was on a radio station confessing about a homosexual punk experience that he had with somebody to get his music popping. Okay, so I'm not going to just do that. But sticking with this Alex Jones individual, this whole culture vulture shit has to end, guys. It really does, because it's too much. It's starting to go way too fucking far.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And like I said, I think all of this stuff started with this Egypt shit is because they got so much backlash from that Gods of Egypt movie that came out about 1.5 years ago. And when that movie came out and it flopped and it tanked because more and more people, even Europeans, are coming into consciousness and coming into some sort of enlightenment. And they know that Egypt was created by niggas. They know this shit.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And the fact that they know that, and then they put this movie out to keep trying to confuse the younger people, because all this is controlling the younger populace. This is tricking them into thinking that they have created nothing. This is tricking them into thinking that their only legacy is slavery and huts. This is what this is about. And when that backlash came from that movie, when everyone was saying, why are all the people in here that are supposed to be black people, Europeans, this is now you have a full-blown assault from the whole European nation. Oh, now we have to pay. And this is, let me say this to Alex Jones. Okay? Just because someone paid some scientist to say that possible DNA could possibly lead back to, dog, that's horse shit. Because a dog is a fucking dog. Okay? The same way a golden retriever was, his characteristics, everything about it, the same thing it was 100 years ago is the same characteristics, the exact same makeup of that fucking dog now. So you're not about to pull that bullshit. The same thing that's going on with Europeans now is the same thing that was going on with them then. That is why when we were younger and in school, we used to say, hey, how come they always got all them clothes on out in the hot area or whatever, when everybody else is wearing shorts or no shorts or no clothes or no shirts or no pants or whatever? Because you could not take the sun even back then. So if you couldn't take the sun back then, what makes me think that, oh, all of a sudden 3,000 years ago you could take it?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I'm really starting to be of the mindset that you lack culture so much, other than murder and savagery. You lack culture so much that you have begun to really, really believe that my culture is your culture. You got white people right now, if I tell them right now that, yo, the only reason that we have video games is because a black man created that shit, they're not going to believe that shit. I'll tell them right now, the only reason you watch TV, nigga, you couldn't even watch TV if a brother didn't create the goddamn TV screen. And we're doing this again. We're doing this shit not with a whole black civilization behind them, pushing them, funding all their ideas and experiments, promoting them and pushing them and making sure whatever they're doing righteous and positive is getting pushed out to the people, back to our people. No. This is done with us being called nigger, with us being held out of schools, with us being not able to get certain applications filled because our name sounds black, and this, that, and the third. This is what all of this shit going on, these inventions were taking place.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And then you have these people, a group of people who would have easily been wiped off this planet if it wasn't for the mercy and love and care of some black people. So I don't understand how you can't even take Arizona heat, but you taking desert heat. I don't understand how everything in Kemet looks black and African. Everything in Kemet is designed black and African. Yet, all of a sudden, it wasn't created by Africans. It was actually created by Europeans. And the Europeans, just for, I guess, the sake of doing it, decided to create and make everything African. Really?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And the kicker to all of this shit is that he would actually put this shit out on a show, on social media. You would actually come out on social media and put this bullshit out about some sort of Europeans inventing anything in Egypt. Anything in Kemet. When it's documented when you first came.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
It's documented when you guys first started coming into Kemet and invading it. Why would you be invading some shit that's already yours? It does not make sense on any fucking level. That's why I said you will not hear today. I had a whole notebook over here that I have, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring up this, and I'm gonna definitely jump into Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, and because he eliminated that shit a long time ago.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
He even proved how those groups of scientists were intentionally lying. Like, this is the shit that we have to deal with when we deal with people, man. Like, everybody wants to call somebody racist because we bring up shit about our culture when we're tired of people trying to steal it. We're tired of people trying to talk about my culture and talk about me in a negative way, but every time I turn around, you trying to do what I do. Every time I turn around, you trying to take credit for some shit that I did. If we wait 80 years, they're going to say they created hip-hop. If you wait 80 more years, they will fucking probably be teaching everybody in 80 years that the Beastie Boys created hip-hop.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And it turns out that most scientists and doctors today, it's a known fact, they get paid to endorse things. They get paid to endorse things. So if you're expecting me to believe that there's a group of scientists who've just been running around for the last 5 years, 3 years, however long, trying to find evidence of DNA in ancient Egyptians, motherfucker, please. Okay? What's the name of these people? I mean the real name. Not that bullshit that he set up there. Like, I can't even listen to the whole shit because I'm at the level now, guys, and I'm at the place now where certain things just cannot be taken in by me. I can't take it in but so much. That's why I tell you guys half the time, I don't see all Sonnet and them's videos because I can't listen to that monkey shit. I can't.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
And I also wanted to say real quick, guys, thanks for the comments on the last video that I did about Sankofa. Because a lot of you guys were really, I respect everybody's opinion. So if you said something negative about him, that's, hey, it's not like he hadn't put himself in that position for someone to say something negative about him, especially, you know, being with the people that he's around and not really saying anything about that. But, yeah, it's, I just appreciate all the comments because that was a heartfelt live stream for me. I wanted Sankofa to know that, yo, you really don't need them. And a lot of the comments, man, I hope he sees the video and reads the comments and he'll see that a lot of people fuck with you, G, and they don't want you fucking with that fuckery. And they feel that, yo, you don't have to do that. And you can still get on and lead young men.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
But back to Alex Jones. This is typical of this new millennium. It's like they're pushing extra hard, you know? It's like they're pushing extra hard to show that you aren't anything while all the evidence is continuing to overflow and come out about everything that we've done and everything that we've contributed to this country, everything we've contributed to this planet. Everything that we've contributed to this planet has to be respected. The time is gone of you saying that some European was in goddamn Egypt creating. How is that possible when you can't even survive out there, let alone thrive out there? Enough is enough. And before I go, I am going to take this moment, like I always do, to say my platform is not the biggest platform in the world, guys. Okay? I'm barely at 1,000 subscribers. So my platform is not the largest platform in the world. But on my platform, I do take the time to delve into any topic that affects black people that is real. I will not hesitate to do such. Now, the problem I'm having is you got other people who have these large House of Consciousness platforms, and I have not yet to hear one of them come out and say anything. I have yet to hear one of them address someone whose platform is just as large as theirs out here spreading propaganda.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Not one time. Never do they come out and speak about anything that's important. And as much Egypt, as much Kemet, as much Kemet 2 or Tamari and all this monkey shit that everybody be saying that thinking they so fucking smart.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I need to see a couple videos of y'all getting at this dude because this is bigger than me. This is bigger than me. Okay? And white people have been in love with Kemet from time immemorial. Okay? What up, dog man? They've been in love with Kemet from time immemorial. They've been wanting to be from Egypt so bad that they make movies with Europeans playing Egyptians. That's what they do. Now, this is what I want Alex Jones to do. Alex Jones, would you feel some type of way? I'm just asking, would you feel insulted for your people or whatever the hell you want to call it? Would you feel some type of way, brother? Would you feel some type of way, sir? If I wanted to make a movie about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and for Jacqueline Onassis, we're going to have Kerry Washington, and for John F. Kennedy, we're gonna cast Don Cheadle.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Like, how the fuck am I gonna make a movie about Lyndon Baines Johnson and Samuel L. Jackson is playing Lyndon Johnson?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
You would have Europeans in an uproar. You would have them in an uproar. And matter of fact, we might as well keep on going with this. Since you guys are still in culture vulturing, how come we didn't just have Justin Timberlake play Tupac?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That's what we should have done. We should have pushed for Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber or one of those guys to play Tupac. Matter of fact, in whatever movie that's coming out next, that's what we need to do. We should have had NSYNC play the role of New Edition.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
This is crazy, man. This is fucking crazy. This dude actually had as the title DNA. Real, and that's another thing with that DNA shit. I know that Kemet was made by Africans because it was made by Africans. I didn't need any DNA to show it, to let me know anything.
Shame.
Nothing.
Shame. Shame.
And this whole DNA shit is no different than this status correction shit. It can be mixed up and said however the fuck you want to say it. However you feel about it, whatever opinion you have about that shit, you can say that shit. And it counts. And it counts. All I have to do is get someone who says they're a scientist. And then that should mean everything. Well, I got something for you, Alex Jones. I know a scientist and a doctor, and he goes by the name of Dr. Reggie.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
We got another scientist too, and he goes by the name of Brother Polite, and he's been to Kemet.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
They couldn't wait to have a white dude play Michael Jackson. They couldn't wait for that shit, dog. They couldn't wait for it to have a white dude play Michael Jackson. Like that, I already knew that shit was coming. I knew that shit was coming. I already knew that shit was coming, yo. I already knew it. And that's why I said, man, they need to make a movie about Elvis Presley. Who do y'all think we should get to play Elvis Presley? Huh? Who should we get to play Elvis Presley, y'all?
Shame. Shame.
Is that Posh Remy? Ah! I miss you so much. What is up, Posh?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That is my girl right there. Posh Remy is my day 111. I miss you, baby. Welcome back, yo. I'm giving you a special shame bell.
Shame. Shame.
But yeah, you guys are still in our culture, man. We're getting tired of that shit. Vlad TV is, I have a list in here, guys, and Vlad TV is third on the list. Okay, of the Culture Vulture list. Okay, he was second, but he got replaced today. by Alex Jones. Because I've heard Alex Jones say on numerous occasions about his family and his supposed ancestry. And he said things like, my family is, you can't get any more American than my family. My family is Americana. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, you're European, G. Hold on, guys. Who is this? Hey, baby, I'm doing a... Sorry about that, guy. Had to answer the phone. Shame to me. Shame to me.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yeah, but I heard Alex Jones say, he said, what did he say? Yeah, he was like, my family is Americana. And you said Stedman, we gonna get Stedman to play him. To play Elvis Presley. Stedman Graham will be playing Elvis Presley in the next Elvis movie.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
But that's why I know a few of you guys have seen a couple of indigenous American shirts that I be throwing up. I threw up a couple today, or one today. And that's why I do it, and that's why I plan pushing it so hard, because it's gone far enough, guys. It's like every time I turn around, man, it's a European with a large platform telling a whole bunch of a whole bunch of technology and misunderstandings, and it is intentionally spreading misunderstandings. There's no evidence whatsoever other than that supposed DNA evidence that you have that would link any European to the creation of Kemet when you weren't even on the planet at the time. Now let's just cut all of that. You weren't even on the damn planet more than likely at the time. You were not even made and or created at the time.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Y'all know it's a real day when I bring the shame bell. You know it's real when I bring the shame bell out. And it's really gotten to a point where I'm going to dive into this platform even stronger than I had planned on, because I feel that I can make a difference. I feel that my voice and my information and just me talking with you guys can make a difference. And I was. And I'm not here to tell anyone to not subscribe to Alex Jones, because a lot of the shit that man be saying when he talks about the global elites and all of that shit, I don't knock it, because I know that it's true. I know that there's groups of people who are wealthy who only hang with those other groups of people, and they devise ways to make sure them and their families stay on top of me and my family. I know that that's true. So I never shun that. I never diss him or knock him for saying anything like that. What I am going to knock your ass for is that bullshit you just said about DNA and some fucking Europeans creating Kemet.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
All this time, man, and all this time that we spent getting to the bottom of this shit, and then out of all them lectures, Kemet on trial. Well, Kemet's on trial right now. Kemet's on trial right now, and I don't see anybody from that fucking whack of consciousness doing anything about it. I don't see anybody who was up there busting Alex Jones' ass down right now with your big ass platforms. I don't see it. And people, I don't think we're going to see it. So let's not hold our breaths for that one. Yeah, Alex Jones, man, I don't knock that part, but I do know he has a lot of sensationalism in what he does, and I also know Europeans. And deep down inside, dog, they hate telling the truth. That's why they cling to this shit so much. That's why he clings to this notion that his family is Americana. You can't get any more American than me. My family, if I trace my roots back, it's Americana. How is your fucking roots Americana?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I'm going to say this one time loudly. You cannot trace your roots back to being Americana because you're white. I'm sorry, bro. You're white. And the fact that you're white means that you did not create any of this shit. You were brought over here. It's historically detailed when you came here.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
If it's historically detailed when you came here, and there was already people here, and we ain't Indians either.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That's a term you created. And then you try to cover it up by saying, well, the people that we seen here, we thought that we were in India. And bitch, shut the monkeys fuck up, G. Shut that bullshit up. That lie is old and tired. All your lies are old and tired. We've all heard them before. We all know where you're going with it. We all know that you're just going to keep talking in an attempt to explain away logic, common sense, reason, and the whole nine to say that I'm not going into any facts about any DNA, about any of that shit. I'm just blasting your ass with the superficial shit that you can't get past. And the superficial shit is, why the fuck would you make a whole civilization that is clearly African? Why would you make a civilization that is clearly African and you're not African? Why would Napoleon have to blow off the fucking lips and nose of a sphinx, which is now and has been for a long time a documented fact? Not anyone's opinion. So what need would he need to blow off the nose of the sphinx and the lips of the sphinx if it's clearly European? How come when I look at all the little mummy tombs and the covers and the faces and the headdresses and all of that shit, all those lips, the eyes, everything looks like me? You don't have lips. So there should be no lips on anything in there. You don't have hips. There should be no hips on anything in there. There should be nothing. Why are the women dressed the way they are? Why are the women wearing locks and headdresses? Why? Stop this bullshit, this madness. Are you kidding me? It's fucking madness. It's madness. And I have to give this.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
What's going on, Chemo? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. We had some Alex Jones talk going on real quick, Chemo. It jumped at me. It was in the group. I know you saw it. So it was just something I had to get on, man, and say something about and ring a couple shame bells.
Shame. Shame.
I had to ring a couple shame bells, man. Because these dudes are now claiming DNA has proven that Europeans were have founded and created the civilization of Kemet.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yo, Alex Jones, you know what I think, guys? This is what I think. Alex Jones has all this time, with all this stuff going on and all these other platforms. I don't think that Alex Jones was ever had the privilege of actually being taught or schooled about Kemet by people that he probably should have been schooled about Kemet by. Okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that he has yet to hear this, which he probably should, because it's something that will help you, Alex Jones.
So when we start to speak about
here we go, guys.
I'm about to show you. There's no doubt that you will know me. I'ma show you. That's what Tommy was, and she was black because that's the way the vibe made her. Show you. Egypt was a black man, Kentucky was a black man. Cause that's the way the vibe made her. Now we came from the southern land, so I know they think that we forgot.
This is for Alex Jones, y'all. That's the way that Rob made him. Oh my goodness, man.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I don't think that Alex Jones ever heard that. So I think that Alex Jones needed to hear that for a second, just so he knows that Egypt was a black land, okay? Because that's the way that Ra made them. I'm going to holler at you guys in a second. Get ready for the next live stream that's coming up.